her most recent project, Olja Triaška Stefanović explores memories of the 80s and 90s through architecture, memorials, and monuments of the former Yugoslavia. A large part of the project consists of the images documenting the brutalist architecture that characterized the period of the Tito regime. In the context of Yugoslavia, this type of architecture is linked mainly with the official ideology of brotherhood and unity. Other photos are associated with the mysterious spaces that point to the darker side of the regime and the cult of personality of Josip Broz Tito. By combining such iconography with family pictures and an extensive archive of newspaper clippings, the artist conveys her family history against the background of the crumbling of Yugoslavia and the escalating ethnic conflicts. Her pictures testify to how some areas of art and culture are subjected to the ruling political and economic elite and how they are affected by the overlaying historical palimpsest. Apart from documenting the process of building a multi-ethnic state, the official constructions, memorials, and monuments demonstrate the deepening of the conflict as a result of growing nationalisms and eventual collapse of the Yugoslav identity.
My name is Olja Triaška Stefanović, and this is my exhibition Brotherhood and Unity. Brotherhood and Unity is my interdisciplinary project that I started to prepare 7 years ago when I asked myself, who am I? I was born in Novi Sad in ex-Yugoslavia, but in late 90s I moved permanently to live in Slovakia. So many years later I started to ask myself the questions about my identity and who am I and how the life in another country influenced my identity. So to answer to that question, I realized that I need to make the visual story and interdisciplinary project and to go back in my personal history, in the history of my family, and to research about my non-existing country, about my identity, and about all those issues that happened in the geographical space of ex-Yugoslavia. So in this exhibition I present several small chapters about the project Brotherhood and Unity, because I develop visual stories about the different key words that I put in the project, like the most important. And the first one was the key word important presence of the past. And due to that, I visited many abounded monuments from the Second World War in the space of ex-Yugoslavia, from Slovenia, Bosnia and Herzegovina, Serbia, Croatia, or Macedonia, or Montenegro. So I present one visual collage of those monuments. Also the key word that was important for my project was the remembers and forgetting. That is something very important nowadays, I think, also in Europe, to not forget and always to remember of the past, of the history, in order to develop more our society today, not to forget what happened, and to be able to tell the stories from the history. So from that reason, I visited many places that are telling the story about my childhood, about childhood history, about childhood memories. So photography presented also on this exhibition telling that story. And the most important part for me was the story of my family, about my family. So that's why I put it also the large canvas that is behind me, the family portrait of my mother, father, brother, and me. It's called Made in Yugoslavia, and also deals with the question, what is the family when someone leaves the family? How we have this family unity together when someone is away. So I wanted to tell a story, a visual story, and that's why I was looking for many metaphors in my interpretation of those issues that I wanted to present in my exhibition. I also used many archive material. I spoke a lot and made a dialogue between me and my parents about those time. I wanted to tell a story because, as I said before, it is very important to tell about the history in order to see and to tell clear to the younger generation what is nationalism, what is the bad side of the nationalism. And I think the art in general is a very good way of speaking that and telling that important things about our history and nowadays society. So I work with archive material, and I also visited very concrete places where I wanted to make a photo. Second part of my project, beside the exhibition, I realized that I wanted to tell much more deeper story about that, and I wanted to enlarge this horizon of the visual stories, and the exhibition was not enough for me, so I decided to make a book, Brotherhood and Unity, that is divided into the 3 chapters: childhood stories, presence of the past, and remembers and forgetting. So much more works are inside, and the story from the first page until the last page is one story about myself, identity, and the country. All those key terms are inside of the book. So this is a photo book, and I'm very, very happy because I also wanted to include this second part of my identity as an immigrant that I left from Serbia to Slovakia to live, where I finished my studies, where I work. I have my family there, and I feel how this different country also shaped my identity. And I always thought how my country was divided in the beginning of the 90s, and also Czechoslovakia, and how are those so different situations, what happened inside of the countries, those 2 countries. So I wanted to include somehow these questions of the country, also the Czechoslovakia, and about the questions about identity between Slovak and Czech, and how they looked about this breakup of Yugoslavia. So I'm very happy and pleased that some great intellectuals and professors made the essays, and journalists made 4 different essays for this my book. So and I think in whole you can get the one very specific point of view about the East European identity. So this is also Brotherhood and Unity book, but where you can also read the 5 different essays. So first you have a photographic essay, and then in the end you have essay by Martinem Šimečka, which is Slovak journalist and writer, Andrej Ban, also the writer, Milena Bartlova from Czech, professor of the art historian, and Bohunka Kokosova, art historian. So those are the names who wrote the essays. So, and I'm very pleased that we have one all together. We made one all together book.